All right, we apologize for the technical difficulty. My laptop's a piece of shit.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. That's
Fuck it.
doing it live. All right. We'll just say the Royal Rumble was so much fun. We had a few criticisms. What he was saying.
He was saying Mysterio is his favorite wrestler of all time.
That's the last thing he said. But we'll just move on. We'll move on from that. We don't really want to say anything about the Raw Tag Team titles either. That was just another sad match when it comes to the tag team title matches on this show. So let's just go into nothing more than just another spot fest, aka the Universal Championship.
Braun did Braun things, Brock did Brock things, and Kane just kind of
Took it all.
there.
Kane just took it all.
Kane took the pin.
Kane was the catalyst to take the dive so that both Braun and Brock would look strong in this match. He was so out of place. He needs to go. I know you're a big Kane fan, but you got to even admit it's time for him to
He's done.
He should just go back. He should just go into politics, Kane.
Go be politics Kane now.
Yeah, go back to being corporate Kane.
Politics Kane.
Corporate Kane is done.
Corporate Kane is done. We now have politics Kane.
Go to Scuba Kane.
I think really the only real major highlight that came out of this match was Braun stiff-kneeing Lesnar in the head, and Lesnar's like, "You son of a bitch."
Don't do that shit anymore. Then punched him dead in the face.
Punched him dead. He's just like, "Slow down."
Well, let's say what he really
said. They showed the replay because it's like watch. It's like boom, and I was like, oh.
Braun got dizzy for a quick second. He's like, "Oh yeah, there's still a match going on. Let's continue."
Oh yeah, there's still a match going on. Picks up the stairs, chucks him at Brock.
Yeah,
as I said,
even though I got tagged with a receipt for kneeing you in the head, I'm just gonna throw these stairs at you anyway.
Yeah, because I'm Braun Strowman. Because I'm Braun Strowman and I'm awesome.
The whole big rumor after this is like, is there like legitimate heat between Lesnar and Strowman that they're just basically trying to one up each other and to prove who's the more badass?
I don't think so.
I honestly don't. I don't think so either.
I think that was just Brock being.
I thought it was an innocent mistake by Braun. He got a little too carried away, and Brock, being who he is, just said, "Fuck you! I'm giving you a receipt." Pam, pam.
And then Braun Strowman was like, "Oh, okay."
I'll throw stairs at you.
Noted.
Got it. And now I'm gonna pick up these stairs and chuck them at you lately.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm really tired as Brock Lesnar as champion.
Don't worry. Roman will come to save you soon.
That's it.
This is the one time I can honestly say that I would be happy with the Roman Reigns Universal title win just to get it off of Brock Lesnar. If that's the way it's going, I will accept the Roman Reigns title win.
And then have Braun go after it, just so Braun can have the title run. I want Braun.
Just go back to last year, and Braun be like, I'm not finished with you. I wasn't finished with you before. I'm never gonna be finished with you. You can come get these heads.
I can't believe that's a thing. Now it's a shirt.
If anyone could get that over, it's Braun. That's it.
All right. Now we're going to discuss the thing we've all been wanting to discuss about fully in detail.
It sucked.
The Women's Royal Rumble. It's clear as day for him. He hated it.
I'm not going to go that far.
I'm not going to go that far either.
It was basic.
It was very basic.
Very basic, as it should have been.
And what you said in the first part, since now this is a two-parter apparently, I agree. They brought in the wrong people. Well, for the most part. Jacqueline was a good exception. Molly Holly was a good exception of.
Kudos to Molly Holly.
She looked great.
She did great.
Let's be clear. When I said the wrong people, I meant the ones like Kelly Kelly, Tori Wilson,
the ones who weren't there to be wrestlers in the first place.
They were there. They were there to be models, and that's it. But you look at Jacqueline, trained by men. Always documented that. Like, I just got the crap kicked out of me by guys. training. Molly Holly, like you said, looked fantastic. She even did her barrel roll somersault into what's her name, Sasha Banks.
And she's
Trish
still winning.
Stratus.
I would love to have seen her as Mighty Molly though, since we had the Hurricane.
I would have liked to have seen Molly's ass crush Sasha's nose, but that's besides the point.
Trish Stratus was great.
Trish was good.
That was a good number 30, though. Even though
Yes.
everybody was expecting Ronda, you know what? At that point, you're kind of like, all right, well, who else is there to do? And you're
Alicia
like,
Fox.
oh, shit. Trish.
Well, I
That's
was
another one that they left out.
Yep, that's why everybody where
Who's
I
another
was
one?
at, they said, "Oh, Alicia Fox will be number 30." I was like,
she was
Trish
hurt
hasn't
injured.
been out yet.
She's injured?
Yeah,
She got
Alicia
hurt.
Fox got hurt.
Oh, I was going to
Like
say.
literally the day before the Rumble.
Oh,
And she's out for months.
Yep.
They announced it like 30 minutes before the Royal
Okay,
Rumble
so,
match.
like, even let's say if Paige was healthy.
Get in the shot, man.
Yeah.
We want you to really be a part of this show.
If Paige was healthy, if Alicia Fox were healthy, that takes two names away. Kelly, Tori Wilson. We're pretty much done. I also don't like how. Okay, Beth Phoenix was one of those that were in the wrong place at the wrong time. She would have thrived in this era of women's wrestling because she cared. She was a wrestler. I give an exception to Michelle McCool, kind of.
She was the big surprise on that one.
But she hasn't wrestled in how long? And
She
yet
did
she
very
can
well.
run rockshot through everybody and throw everybody out like it's
Well,
nothing.
she had the most eliminations with like 5, right?
Right, but why isn't that going to a talent that's...
Why
They're
didn't
gonna
that
be
go
there
to
next week.
Asuka? Why didn't
Yeah.
that go
Why
to
did it go to Asuka? Why didn't it go to Nia Jax?
a
You
lot
know what I mean?
of
Somebody.
the
I mean, you're
legend
building up
wrestlers, the
these-
females were the eliminations. Like,
You're building up these two to be dominant,
Yes.
okay? And they got maybe what 2 or 3 eliminations each, maybe. And you're building up Asuka to be this dominant force who nobody
And you
can
give
beat.
her, like, nothing.
And you gave her 2 eliminations, one a Bella Twin and Ember Moon. That's it. That's all she eliminated.
Isn't that something?
I should know. Use your number.
I know that, but
That's how
that,
I know, yeah.
that has, but as much as that irked me, I'm like that still doesn't defend the point that these 2 women, okay, Nia Jax, as much as she doesn't want to be told this online, she's a beast,
Yeah.
and she should be treated like one.
This one, yep.
Like,
But when we're saying... I can't speak for anybody, but when I say beast, the way that I read somewhere that Vince McMahon wants to build her is like the Andre the Giant of the women's division. And that's not...
and you get 2 eliminations.
And for me, it's not a derogatory comment
No,
towards her. I mean,
It's not.
Mike, Big Mike, thinks she's fucking gorgeous. And you know what? There is a certain attractiveness to her. And I, I say that in all honesty, straight face. I'm not trying to, make anybody happy because if I thought, otherwise, I would say so too. But there's nothing wrong with her. She's gotten better in the ring.
She actually has.
And you know what? Whenever she has a dominant performance, like in her WrestleMania match, or like if she would have had a good
Yeah.
Rumble showing, she could have a good run as a champion.
And I'm happy with where it's said that they're going for the WrestleMania match for the Raw Women's
Bliss versus
Bliss
Jax.
versus Jax.
That's where
For
they're going.
the
Really?
for
Good,
the
because Bliss
yeah,
hasn't
good.
done anything since really October. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
She really doesn't have anyone.
They do.
No,
There's-
no. Storyline wise, she hasn't done any. She doesn't have anyone because
she's beaten Sasha, she's beaten Bailey,
Because
she's beaten
it's been copy and paste storytelling when it comes to the women's division for the past couple of months, building up for the women's Rumble. It's just been
they started doing
Sasha, Bailey, Mickey James versus Absolution. That was the storyline for the
and
past couple of months.
they started
They don't
a
have
few
anything to
months
Alexa.
they started a few months ago the whole Jax wants a title shot thing, and I guess they're gonna go back to it now.
She's gonna
But-
win the female. She's gonna win the women's elimination chamber.
But the problem is, if you're gonna give her that spot, okay, getting 2 eliminations in a women's Royal Rumble where you're the biggest one, And yeah, it took 8 people to get you out, but you were on the outside of the ring for most of the time that you were out there.
And that was another problem. Too
Mhm.
many. They're rolling out to the outside, and this. No, stay in the ring. Stay in the ring. You know, because this is where it would have been good. Of like, okay, if you get out the ring, you're out. Like when they were doing women's battle royals in the past, because nobody was capable of being thrown over the top rope for whatever reason. It's really not that hard. But I don't know, dude. And we said this in the midst of our technical issues here, or I said this. You know, I had a problem with, Adam Cole being a Rumble entrant because he wasn't an NXT call up. Andrade Cien Almas because he's the NXT champion. Why are you gonna make it like, oh well, that victory wasn't that important? Keep him to that brand. He's the champion of that brand for a reason. He shouldn't be touching WWE. I feel this would have been a perfect time to call a bunch of women up from NXT because you have a whole bunch of them.
Mhm.
You're signing a bunch of them from the Mae Young Classic. A lot of them have been there for a while. That they're going to be ready. Why not start bringing them up now?
And we
Like
talked
you said with the men.
When you have all the talent and you
Yeah.
only bring up Kairi Sane and
Ember
Ember
Moon.
Moon, very good choices, by the way. But
And neither
when you
did
only
Nicola.
bring, when the only two that you bring up are them, and you have the ones like Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, and
Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross down there who are ready to come up. They've done their thing in NXT. They're ready to be called up, and you bring in people like you said,
It became
Kelly.
it became the nostalgia trip of
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
but it, as Dave was putting it, it was the nostalgia trip for the wrong reasons. It was because it was at the time. It was the time period that really you kind of don't want to keep reminding you that this was women's wrestling women's wrestling at that time period with Kelly and Tori
Vicky
Wilson.
Guerrero.
Excuse me.
Hey, Vicky was fun. She was honestly the fun highlight of the match. For
That's
me.
fine, but
But that's
Still
just because of nostalgia, not because of
then she
women's
should have gone to
wrestling.
Raw 25.
Pete. We know that you had some vitriol.
Oh,
towards
what's
this
the
match.
unpopular opinion that I'm going to be
What do you have
upset
to?
about?
I enjoyed the Rumble, and my girl won. And then fucking
Oh,
Ronda had to come out, and I thought that was the most bullshit
that
thing
was-
in the world.
That was horrible timing.
That I think was a waste because
We were saying it on our live show. I'm like, they seriously can't screw this up again. They can't. First, they did it with the women's Money in the Bank for having a man technically win the Money in the Bank contract. They really did do it again, but for a different reason. It's the fact that like, oh, they went through all this time having these women show up doing the first ever women's Royal Rumble, and just as Asuka was going to choose her champion that she was to face, which they're for some reason keeping that going.
Another week.
Who the hell
You
knows?
know
why.
you know who she's gonna choose.
Exactly.
Everybody knows.
And then the whole story of the first ever women's Royal Rumble kind of gets taken away on the fact of Ronda Rousey shows up and she's looking at the two women's champions. Oh, hi you two.
Shaking
Yeah.
Asuka's hand, smiling.
And then it's like, oh, I don't really care about you two being the champions. I want to face the undefeated person. Now you just also like you took away from the women's Royal Rumble.
Mhm.
You took a lot away of your women's champions,
Yep.
and it
And that's not the Ronda Rousey that anyone wants to see. The smiley, happy version that's
exactly.
happy to be
pointing
there.
to
To be-
WrestleMania. I was like, oh, cool. You could just come and point to WrestleMania, and clearly you're going to be in
It
it.
was like, why couldn't you do that tomorrow?
To be fair, though, to defend Ronda a little bit, she's a lifelong fan.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
like okay, when she did the appearance with The Rock at WrestleMania 31, she probably thought, and most of us probably thought that was a one-shot deal. That she was that badass at the time before taking the 2 losses in UFC, and she was the main baddest woman on the planet, and she figured, I guess it was only a one-time thing. She only smiled a couple of times because she's reacting with the crowd. But, again, she probably thought it was a one-shot deal. Like, I might as well live up to my persona as I do in a cage. But now, she's coming into WWE now as supposedly a full-time employee.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, probably what she dreamed of doing her whole life, or that she figured, oh, I can do this. This is a line in the sand basically for WWE because one way you're going to have great success with her. She's going to be another Kurt Angle product where she can go from her world, which at the time Kurt Angle was a freestyle Olympic wrestler, or
You
Brock
won a gold medal
Lesnar
with a broken
with a
freaking neck.
broken freaking neck. Or you can go and she'll be a great athlete. I mean, she's already got athletic ability, that's no question. But will she be able to pick this up? Will she be able to do this? Will she be, because I mean, learning from firsthand experience, there's a difference between being in good shape or being in ring shape. Two completely different things. And then it can go the other way, where she is an absolute Daniel Pewter like nightmare, who can't do anything in the ring, and you wasted the first women's Royal Rumble on a woman who not only is going to be there, because after her losses in UFC, I hate to digress here for a second. After her losses in UFC, she seemed to have gotten soft and quit.
Get back and get in the shot,
Yeah.
man. Get in the shot.
She seemed to have gotten soft and quit.
I agree.
Now, how they do things down at the Performance Center, they're tough. Is she going to quit in the middle of doing all that? Are the fans going to be against her now because she didn't show up for several Raws or SmackDowns after reading that she's a full-time talent now? Despite being told several times she's filming a movie, are the fans going to turn on her because, oh yeah, I'm full-time. Oh, I kind of just showed up at WrestleMania. I don't see her fulfilling that full-time obligation.
I see her doing a Lesnar thing.
100% agreed. I don't see it. And then they're going to turn on her. And then she's going to get salty because that they turned on her. And she's like, you know what? I'm good.
To go with what you said about like her being a longtime fan and her having her moment, yeah, let her have her moment, but
Not at the expense of the champions and the Rumble winner.
exactly. So I would have saved it for the Raw after,
Exactly.
and have, if anything, yeah, have it open with Stephanie telling Asuka, so who's your choice, and then at that moment, let Ronda Rousey show up.
Yeah.
Have her be the big opening segment on Raw, and have that be the main focal point on Raw. Don't take it all away from what happened at the Royal Rumble. Let her have her moment, yes, but it's just a bad call.
Because then you look at it
It's like
and
terrible timing.
yeah, years down the line, the first women's Royal Rumble will be, oh, Ronda Rousey. She
Showed
debuted. Yeah,
It's like,
it was her big debut in WWE, quote unquote, like as an official full time.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, Asuka won, but
Yeah.
who really cares?
Yeah,
Ronda
exactly.
Rousey showed up.
Yeah,
That's it.
and it just left such a. I enjoyed the pay-per-view. I did. I enjoyed the Rumble. But that ending just gave such a bad taste in my mouth where I'm just like, you put the Women's Royal Rumble match last because it's the first one. Good on you. And I hope that it wasn't as good as I hoped it would be. We've discussed that. But to end it like that was just like, you could, and this is the thing that gets me with WWE. Oh, Lesnar, let's put him in front. Oh, Ronda Rousey. No, you gotta focus on the people who have brought you to the dance. And yeah, Sasha Banks, not a lot of people are fans of her, granted, but she at least was in the Rumble and she, besides rolling out of the ring and onto the floor, but
Multiple times.
multiple times in
As
doing
her
that.
and Bailey and everybody else did.
Yeah, but at least like
Lazy.
they were there and
It just brings out, like, from what I've been reading with people's response on the Rumble, there were a lot of people. It's like, oh, the women's match was just unbelievable. It was so much better than the men's. And at that
They're
point,
stupid.
I'm like, okay, guys, I respect your opinions. Normally,
I don't.
but this is the point where you guys are 100% wrong. Normally, I don't really say that with people stating their own opinions, but yeah, this is really. when you actually have the crowd reaching to the point where they're booing, they're starting to chant boring very very lightly. It didn't really pick up,
No, I heard it.
but I mean like
I get what you're
the
saying.
whole
Yeah, yeah.
arena pick up. But yeah, we didn't get that with the men's rumble, and it's not like a whole sexist thing. It's just on account of
But
what stories they were telling in the ring, and most of the time, there really wasn't any stories telling in the ring. It was just really let's bring down the nostalgia trips. Let's bring down the Undertaker's wife. Granted, speaking of Undertaker's wife, when most of the women coming out, people were chanting stuff that their husbands chants.
Oh my God, that
Brie-
drove me
Brie
nuts.
Bella comes out with yes chants. Nikki Bella comes out with John Cena sucks. Michelle McCool comes out with Undertaker chants. Lana comes out Rusev Day. It's just now that also took away from the Rumble, the women's Rumble, and then you had Stephanie, who is quite possibly the worst commentator.
Yeah, that was bad.
She was so bad. She kept repeating the same shit over and over and over again, and she just had no life to it, to what she was saying.
To fair, that's what I kind of said. It was an ego trip as well, because you have her now broadcasting on the show, and you have her in the middle of this. Why? You don't need to be a part of this. Who gives a shit? Again, put the right
It's the
people in
Stephanie
place.
McMahon presents the first women's
I
Royal
get it,
Rumble.
yeah.
It's been like that since they first announced the damn thing. You had all the women together. Stephanie comes out, lines them up like,
Why do you say we make history one more time?
let's make history one more time. That's something to chant yes about. Okay, here's my one. Fuck you.
But it's funny because
It was a well-deserved one.
yes, it was. But they're also chanting boring. To kind of digress from before, they're also chanting boring and this that. Because okay, you might be saying to see the same 5 people on TV all the time for the men's side, but there's also others around them. Whereas the same 5 people on TV or in the women's division are the same 5 people that you're going to see every fucking week because it's the only women that they have. How many times can you rotate through the gauntlet? I mean, it's boring as shit. No offense to them, but it's boring.
It's cut, copy, and paste storytelling week after week after week.
this
Something
whole-
that we've talked about on the show before.
These are my last comments of the Women's Rumble, and I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be anything. I respect that the women are getting out there doing their thing. They're getting attention. Actually, I'm going to say 2 more things. One, with Ronda, it brings eyeballs to the division that it desperately needed. So now when people are actually going to be paying attention to it and they're going to be under a microscope, oh, well, I've seen Becky Lynch for the last 6 weeks in a row. She faced Naomi for the first 4, then switched off between Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan, who were part of the same faction, because I saw Ruby Riott again the next day. It's going to bring more pressure to do something else with the women's division, whether it bring more women call-ups, do one women's champion to go on both shows, which I think is what they should have done in the first place, as with the World Championship, but that's besides the point. God, just come on. I understand you want to, I'm all for women wanting the same stage as men and everything. I'm all for it. But you gotta lay off. In the sense of, we get it, you're good, you're talented in what you do. Just, why such a political pressure? There's no reason for the political pressure of, with everything that's going on in the nation now, with all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like that, oh, well, we're the forefront for positivity towards women and this, that. There's so many other ways that you can do that, though, instead of compromising the rest of the product. Because then it goes down with it. I mean, I get it. The only reason why I say that is, again, that match, the Women's Rumble, should not have main evented that show.
No doubt.
And like I said earlier, it's not gonna main event anymore. They just did it for this one time because it's the first ever one, and next year, just switch the Rumbles, and that's gonna be.
And now I'm going to be completely different from everybody else because, quite honestly, I didn't hate it as much as most of you seem to have. Okay, I enjoyed it for what it was. I never thought that it was going to be the greatest. I never thought that it was going to be good. I never thought that they put on a basic can get Rumble match because quite honestly, no one had ever done it before in that way. So I didn't go in expecting anything. I, and I enjoyed it for what it was. Yes, some people came out that I didn't agree with. The ones that you said, Tori Wilson, Kelly Kelly, didn't need to be there, but it didn't offend me that they did, and they were out rather quickly. So, and the right person won,
Mhm.
Hmm.
and so I thought that it was fine for what it was. I do agree on the 2 points that you said about the why is the political thing, because really that match itself had no business being the main event.
No.
Okay, the men's Royal Rumble being where it was brought down the entire rest of the show because everyone was so burned out from the men's Royal Rumble and how good that was that nobody could get into the final three matches.
I'll make a bet right now. There will be a woman that main events WrestleMania this year, whether it be the tag team scenario that's being thrown out there, Ronda and whomever against Triple H and Stephanie, or Asuka versus the rumored match Charlotte.
And I
A
wouldn't
woman
be
will main event WrestleMania this year, and it'll probably be the first scenario. And there's your agenda again that women main evented WrestleMania,
and I can't
and it's not the right fucking people.
and I wouldn't be surprised if the women's elimination chamber main evented the elimination chamber.
There's no reason for it.
There's no reason for it. It's the political pressure, and I hate that. I respect everything that's going on in the nation right now, the Me Too movement and all that.
And I respect the women athletes.
But the fact that it's destroying your product. It is.
I don't want to go that far. I just think it's just ruining the morale of the locker room where these women have been doing it for so long. And yes, they're getting the main event rub that they feel that they deserve. They will. But after they do this whole initial movement, where are they going to go from there? There's nothing to look forward to at this point. They're blowing their load right now.
Exactly. And it's all because of what's going on.
Yep.
So that's all well and good. But when it's the matches that deserve to main event the pay-per-views that they're on aren't going to because of all of this, and that sucks. But I, I didn't hate the match. I thought it was fine. It didn't kill the score of the pay-per-view that I'm gonna give it.
So let's just go. That's a good segue right into it. We'll just go into our facial hair ratings.
Well done.
Our facial. So for you guys, we explained it to you. Get the fuck in the screen.
I'm tired, dude.
I don't care. 1, clean shaven. 2, peach fuzz. 3, classic goatee. 4, full beard. And 5, goat face. Goat face. We'll start with you, Pete. Out of the 5 rating, what would you give the Royal Rumble?
A full beard.
You gonna give it a full beard? All right.
Full beard.
I give the show a low full beard.
Yeah.
Mostly because of how good the male Royal Rumble was. Like that put me over the moon. Like I was a goat face until I thought about it. Until I really thought about it, I was like that Royal Rumble, that male Royal Rumble was enough. And then I thought about the women's Royal Rumble and the fact that I didn't really care all that much, even though the matches themselves were fine. The tag team match and the Universal title match, they were fine. They didn't bring it down for me. And the women's Royal Rumble, well, there were some parts of it that I hated, the aforementioned Ronda Rousey and all that. And as we said, the SmackDown tag team title match was really freaking weird. So brought it down a little bit for me, but not enough that it took away from what the WWE title match did and from what the male Royal Rumble did. The male Royal Rumble put me so over the moon that nothing could have brought this down further than a full beard for me.
I'm gonna go full beard as well. Not as low as what you were saying, but it's kind of like the straightforward full beard. The tag team matches were very weak, in my opinion, and like we all were talking about, the men's Royal Rumble was just so much fun and exciting, and I personally didn't have any criticisms whatsoever to it. I had fun with everything they did. The women's Royal Rumble, it's not that I hated it, in my opinion, it could have been better. You said it was very basic, but with how much they were pushing it, how they were promoting it, I was expecting just a little more, and not more, and a lot less nostalgia trip. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a full beard. There's Jeff's prediction. Prediction. Here's his rating. He gave it a go. He gave it a full go face. I can't wait to hear his explanation on that later. It's probably just the simple fact that Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka won.
Yeah.
It's it's probably just the simple fact that those two won. That's it.
I'm gonna give it a goatee. The Rumble match, the men's Rumble match was that good, but again, I didn't watch the WWE Championship match, so that's kind of not fair. But based on the other matches that I can judge by, the two tag titles, Universal Championship, and the Women's Rumble, it's because those matches were so lacking in one way or another that, to me, it brought the enjoyment of the pay-per-view down. So, if it weren't for the men's Royal Rumble, it would have gotten peach fuzz. But because that men's Rumble match was so good, I just give it a 3. That match basically saved the whole pay-per-view.
It really was. It really was
Yeah.
the match of the night. And it wasn't just because it was the Rumble. It was just so much fun to watch.
And the
But-
fact that it was the best one since God knows when. What 2011 maybe? When was the last one that you can honestly say that you enjoyed all the way through?
Oh wait,
Oh wait.
I was there live, and By the way, one more question before you sign off, and just very brief answer, just yes or no. I'll start with Pete. With the amount of talent that WWE has right now between main rosters and NXT, for the men's Rumble, do you think it's time that they go to a consistent 40-man Rumble match?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm kind of 50-50 on it, really. Yes, because they're with the names they have, but the only reason it's the 50-50 is as long as the NXT is still looked at as the developmental brand. That's the only real negative thing I can say. But if NXT actually became risen up to the same level as being looked at as with Raw and SmackDown, then absolutely.
And look at it this way too. You have plenty of injuries on the roster. Like, if Samoa Joe was healthy, who would have been left out of the Rumble? You know what I mean? Like, there's more people that could be added. And
So
then,
you say yes?
oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I think it's about time. And especially if you're giving Rumble a 4-hour pay-per-view, I think it's time. Definitely not the women's. Keep the women's at 30, but the men's competition.
With women, they were struggling to get 30 women.
I'd say put the women at 20.
Put the women at 20, like the first Rumble was back in 1988.
Yeah.
And then have the men's go to 40. Yeah, I could do that.
But yeah, like I said, if they were actually considering NXT not the developmental, absolutely.
Because all the NXT brands is going to do at this point, they're out there to get thrown out.
Which is fine.
Which is fine, but when you're doing it with 40, I feel that they're going to be quickly thrown out.
You could put Heavy Machinery in there, which would be okay because they're whatever. But you can't be putting Velveteen Dream in there, who's a rising star in NXT.
Yeah.
He's an absolute bona fide stud. And you can't have him just come in the Rumble just to get eliminated really quick.
All right, well, that was our thoughts on Royal Rumble. so much shit going on with the technical difficulty that we had to stay here a lot longer than we wanted to. But now we want to know what everyone at home thinks. What did you all think of the Royal Rumble? Yes, I put the old.
You're so quick with this shit.
I planned this whole shit out. We want to know what you thought of Royal Rumble. What fish rating would you give the Royal Rumble? Would you agree with him with the classic OT? Would you agree with us with the full beers? Would you go like with Jeff and the goat face? I cannot.
I
believe
really want to know.
I cannot. Seriously, cannot wait to hear his explanation on that one. But if you like what you've seen, like what you hear, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on our Twitter machine at ScholarsOW. You can follow Jeff at I'm Robbie Rage. Brian?
You can follow me at Atomic Beanpole.
You can follow me at The Avatar. You guys have Twitter machines. Where can they follow? Where can they follow you?
You go, Pete.
You can follow me on Twitter and basically all social media at Improv Pete.
You can follow me at Calypso426. That is with a K. Calypso426. Pretty much same thing on social media.
Alrighty. Thank you all for all the people that are probably still watching us live. Congrats to you. I applaud you for staying with us this
Your checks are in the P.O. box.
No checks.
We're on TNA. It's there.
It's there, I promise.
Just go up to Canada. Impact Wrestling will pay you, maybe.
Probably not.
Probably not. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all.
Listening and watching.
Listening, watching, the whole shebang. You know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling. You have just been schooled. You're welcome. Alrighty, I'm done with this.
And now I'm going to cry tears of despair because this is not mine.
Hey!
It will be mine!
Oh, easy, watch your TV.
Give me the.
It will be mine!
Norman Smiley, future champion.
Mine!